Fortress going to wait for the opponent to dump energy, and it is the Shadow Empoleon show. Shadow Empoleon re-enters the arena with a whole heap of energy good to go. We might be low, but these assets are double resisted. We fire off the first Hydro Cannon, rocking the opponent below the half health range. We maximise farm, trapping the opponent into the charge attack priority. Togekiss is still alive, but not for long. Back out comes Togekiss. Hydro Cannon going to do almost all their health. We're going to Metal Sound farm down and take that game. Welcome back to the channel. We're in the Ultra League rotation of Season 24's Go Battle League. I'll be honest, 99.9% of my content is purely for your entertainment purpose. However, today is that rare day. I'm going to showcase a team you can actually climb with. What I really like about this team, and specifically the core that I'm going to be showcasing today, is there is no XL candy required. It's been a hell of a long time in the Ultra League since we've had a core that's not only good, but in my opinion the best, that requires no XL candy, making this format more accessible than ever. This is not the first time we've seen this core. If you're an OG, you'll remember back in the days before XL candy was a thing, the Steel Penguin plus Dragonite was without a doubt most people's go-to core. With all the move updates, the power creep, the release of XL candy, this core kind of fell off, mostly due to the lack of pacing and just the fact that things are so goddamn bulky. However, Season 24 was very kind to both these Pokemon, as both of them got not one but two buffs respectively. Empoleon gaining access to Metal Sound is huge for it. It's now got its quickest ever pacing, able to spam both of its hard-hitting charge moves after just 10 turns, added to the fact that Drill Peck this season has been buffed, now doing more damage. It's much of the same for our boy Shadow Dragonite. Its pacing is greatly improved. Formerly, its cheapest charge move was Dragon Claw, coming after 12 turns, and it took 14 turns for the Superpower. Dragon Breath has been reworked, generating more energy. You're now able to get to that hard-hitting Superpower after just 10 turns, and it's got a new party trick with Thunder Punch for some very nice coverage. Rounding out today's team, in the classic Dragon Double Steel strategy, I'm opting for Fortress. Of course, this is a heavily XL Pokemon. However, if you've got access to it, I think it is going to be very good in the meta. If you look at the top ranked Pokemon, you've got so many flyers, stuff like Togekiss, Corviknight, Galarian Moltres, water types are going to be super common as they always are. Things like Lapras, Feraligatr, Blastoise, Empoleon, I could go on. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we see Shadow Dragonite staring down Corviknight in this battle of flying types. Despite them having a sub-steel typing and me being a dragon, Dragonite is favoured thanks to that newly acquired Thunder Punch. Despite them resisting my Dragon Breaths, they're going to be doing objectively more than these double resisted sand attacks. I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Thunder Punch, despite not getting same type attack bonus, easily 2 shots. We're actually going to save Dragonite, make the pivot into Empoleon, as we're on an ABB team, and see what the opponent's best steel type counter is. The opponent answered my Penguin save switch with Belly Bolt, which of course by no means a good matchup. However, Hydro Cannon is such a busted move, cleanly 2 shots. It might not 2-shot after the defense buff, however I'm at least going to invest 1 Protect Shield here, and the thought process is, whilst Fortress has very nice coverage for the meta, it can be quite slow, quite clunky to charge moves, so for it to perform, it performs objectively better if you can force shields down. Much like I did the first time, I'm always maximising my farm, trapping the opponent into the CMP type, on the off chance they don't invest in their Belly Bolt. But of course they do, so I'm going to send out Dragonite. I'm here, I'm going to overfarm, fire off the Superpower. To my surprise, Superpower forced the protection. I made a huge mistake there. Even I was confused by just how quickly we generated energy. I was doubled up, and I definitely should have thrown the second Superpower and looked to remove Belly Bolt from the field of play. Oh boy, I think the misplays in this battle are evident for everyone to see. I then tank the charge move, and these sucker punches do far too much. Fortress has a shield to hide behind, but literally no HP. Back out comes Corviknight. I am going to go for the undercharge, wanting to farm down afterwards. You can see I'm not quite able to farm down, and we really need them to be weak to Fortress in the back, or this is curtains for me. I invest the Protect Shield, out comes Crustle. We get the get out of jail free card, but definitely not as you should play the team. Quite poor on my part, but regardless, Fortress going to outpace the back-to-back Rock Tombs. And undeservingly, we're going to be off to a 1-0 start. So whenever I showcase a climbing team, I always ensure that I showcase the battles in the order I play them, so you can see me figuring the team out. So I think the top tip for today is do as I say and not as I do. The downside of showcasing battles in the order that I played them is in this scenario, we find 2 meta slaves consecutively, both running PvPoke's #1 ranked pick in the lead position. Of course, I can't decide what I see. Some people think the algorithm does, I think it's just random luck, and I just happen to play 2 Corviknight leads consecutively. The opponent save switched into Malamar. We throw the Superpower, force him chip into action before sending out Fortress to get that full Volt Switch farm down afterwards. The opponent sends out Zygarde. Zygarde going to be chipped with the Earthquake. Earthquake doesn't do too much damage, and I save switch into the Steel Penguin. Now Dragon Tail's been buffed. Much like Dragon Breath, it's only 6 Dragon Tails to the Earthquake. I respect it, and the opponent is running the combination of Dragon Tail and Bulldoze. Why? Why would you do that? However, that's good information to know, as I highly doubt you're going to run Bulldoze and Earthquake, as that would give you 0 coverage. With that in mind, despite the Penguin being very glassy, one Bulldoze will be survivable. The opponent fire off the Bulldoze, they make the pivot and go for the wham bam combo play, sending out Corviknight. I'm happy to let the Penguin go down, knowing Dragonite should be able to carry me home, especially if a shield to hide behind. Despite having a shield, as they didn't boost, Air Cutter definitely is not forcing my final. I'm going to farm up, throw the Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch won't quite be lethal. The opponent's been spamming moves as soon as they get them since the start of the battle. So with that in mind, we make the catch back onto low health Fortress, and that should be all she wrote. The opponent sends out Zygarde. Zygarde looks for the Dragon Tail farm down, unable to get it. Before the Rock Tombs reach, Rock Tomb certainly puts them in a range where they're going to get knocked out by a single Superpower. I'm not entirely sure why the opponent's throwing energy here. They could have Dragon Tail farmed me down. They recognise that was a mistake on their part, and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see Ampharos in the lead position. Quite an awkward Pokemon for my backline, so nice to catch it in the lead. But even Dragonite does struggle here. The buff Volt Switches are absolutely shredding through my HP. You can see I'm already down to the yellow health range. I think Thunder Punch baiting super risky, so we throw the Superpower. Superpower forces the Protect Shield. We throw the next Superpower, winning CMP. The opponent reluctant to 2 shield. You can see I'm spamming the switch, looking to reset their debuff, and I send out the Penguin. The Penguin wastes no time. Gonna fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck, Shadow and Shadow Crime, does a lot of damage as we're attack weighted and they are hella glassy. With that in mind, Crunch likewise, gonna do a lot. The Penguin tanks 1. Here my opponent set off on Aqua Tail. I was thinking I'll tank this easily. However, wrong. Aqua Tail almost does all my HP. We undertap the Drill Peck. Drill Peck will be either forcing the shield or knocking out. The opponent sack Gyarados, putting all their hopes and dreams on their own Dragonite. But unfortunately for them, we've got a second Steel type in the form of our Fortress. I'm always going to look to no-shield the first move. Superpower would do objectively more than the Thunder Punch, however comes with a harsh consequence of them lowering their own attack and defense by 1 stage. So we call the bait, not that it was really too difficult to call, throw the Rock Tomb, we've still got a shield to hide behind, we reach the next Rock Tomb, the opponent actually quit on the CMP tie, and this one is going to end in victory. GG's to that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Jellicent in the lead position. This used to be such a scuffed matchup, it would be the bait game and you were hella slow to charge moves. Dragon Claw didn't really do too much damage as it only hit for neutral, but nowadays the super effective Thunder Punch does a lot of super effective damage. I'm going to respect the Shadow Ball. To my surprise, the opponent does not bait, which is best case scenario. I end up getting super greedy here, trying to CMP the Jellicent, the opponent like a savage catch on Nidoqueen, and I'll be honest, Nidoqueen is definitely a massive problem for my backline. Thunder Punch double resisted, Superpower single resisted. I get off as much damage as I can before safe switching into Fortress in an attempted Poison Fang catch. That also goes wrong and things aren't looking great. The opponent again settles for a Poison Fang, and I was thinking, why would you do that? And then watch what happens. I throw 1 Volt Switch, get sniped by Typhlosion. I got completely outplayed. I will be the first to say it, and I am running for the hills. GG's to that opponent. And people say content creators only show their wins. Where would be the fun in that? In the next battle, we are running it back with yet another Jellicent in the lead position. Let's see if this time I can make an adjustment and not get destroyed by their backline. I respect the Shadow Ball. Bubble Beam! Come on, bro, I've got a family. Who runs Bubble Beam in Season 24? I'm really starting to question what the heck is behind this Jellicent, and they double shield both Thunder Punch at this point, trainer. If you want to Shadow Ball me, be my guest. They fire off yet another Bubble Beam. I'm guessing they're going straight Bubble Beam, so I farm up, make the catch onto the Steel Penguin, and of course we catch the one time the opponent was not baiting. It's always how it goes, isn't it? The opponent remains on my screen, so we fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck isn't quite lethal. Unfortunately, unable to Metal Sound farm down, and the opponent reaches a 1 departing Shadow Ball, cleanly knocking out the Penguin. I could take a 1 Volt Switch running start, that would give me 16 energy, however I'm going to keep my third a secret, and send out Dragonite now, and I've got the ability to switch out should I need to. The opponent sends out Umbreon. Honestly, what season is this? Umbreon plus a Bubble Beam Jellicent. I must have woke up in 2023. We attempt the foul play catch onto Fortress, catch attempt unsuccessful, but the opponent absolutely sacrificed their Tentacruel to the Pokegod's Fortress, lands the Earthquake, Tentacruel straight in and straight out. Tentacruel is hella bulky. How many times do you see it get one shot? It isn't all that common. After landing that huge boom, there are very limited win cons remaining for my opponent. Essentially, me having a heart attack that thankfully hasn't happened to this point yet, although some of these battle submissions have been testing my blood pressure, all the game lagging out, neither occur, and we're able to emerge victorious. Heading into the next battle, yet another Gelatin in the lead position, and some of you might recognise the avatar. Once again, we're going to fire off the Thunder Punch. And I think some of the common things with content creators, some of the big ones, I'm not naming any names, they masturbate far too much. Have a clearly Jonkers is like Jamie Finn, you look to call baits all the time, eat the Shadow Ball to the face, and then send out Typhlosion. I'm glad to bait this thing out. But last time I played Jonkers, only a few days ago, he's running double fires. I already think it's going to be curtains for me. I'm really hoping it's not a double fire strategy. I'm calling his team, as he's seen Empoleon, plus a dragon, I'm almost certain he's going to know what's in the back, hence the shield of the Superpower. I'm kind of obliged to match Protect shields, to be honest. Ascending Fortress into a Typhlosion is like putting chocolate on a barbecue. You just get melted in a split second. I throw the Thunder Punch, removing Typhlosion from the field of play. Out comes Crustle. I think there I should have committed to the Superpower, look to force the final protection to get off some meaningful damage. I'm going to spec the Rock Wrecker, as I think an X as a bait is far too risky. I'm going to keep farming up, anticipate him going for the catch. However, I actually didn't know just how quickly that thing generates energy. I was thinking if I can Volt Switch farm all the way down, leaving with the double Rock Tomb, we might be in a good spot. But much to my dismay, he's already got the next Rock Wrecker locked and loaded. A Rock Wrecker in this battle of bug types nukes me into oblivion. We're going to get resisted, Fury cut a farm down, and take a heartbreaking loss. GG's, Mr. Jonkers. I look forward to seeing it from your side in your next upload. Heading into the next battle. We see Zygarde in the lead position. I was thinking I'm going to let him farm up to the Outrage and go for a very high risk, high reward catch onto the Steel Penguin. But the opponent actually doesn't farm to the Outrage. So I guess I'm just going to tank the crunch, throw the Superpower before eventually making the pivot into said Steel Penguin. Today's tip of the day, if you see Zygarde, despite them generating energy a lot quicker, don't respect anything, as I once again shield a Bulldoze. Honestly, I am so washed at this game. They also get the defense drop there, which isn't fantastic. The opponent saves Zygarde, make the pivot into Giratina, but they give me a huge energy lead, and it's time to put this energy to good use. These Drill Pecks, now they've been buffed, actually do quite a lot. You can see that looks like 3 will come quite close to knocking out, as switch timers are misaligned. After shielding off a Bulldoze, I am very salty, so we aggressively send out Dragonite and snipe down the remaining HP, denying their energy. Zygarde re-enters the arena, able to Dragon Tail farm me down. We send out Fortress, and it looks like the opponent is spamming a charge move, looking to knock out my Penguin. I think this is a massively winnable game for the opponent. I think it's a back and forth of them trying to throw and me also trying to throw. So here, I've landed the Rock Tomb, which of course 100% chance to lower their attack. I should never ever shield this move, because Zygarde's still alive, so this Lapras could reset the debuff and potentially hit me with a full power Sparkle Aria later. Lapras's pacing is 12 sideways to the first Sparkle Aria and only 11 to the second. So with that in mind, if I look to throw another Volt Switch, the opponent would be able to hit me with a Sparkle Aria. So instead, I pivot into the Penguin. I was waiting for the catch, no catch attempt is made, and the opponent then gift the battle back to me by shielding up the Drill Peck. Would Drill Peck be lethal? Potentially, however, I think they've always got to call that move. As whilst they have reset this debuff, and they've got energy banked, it's simply too little too late. I can farm up to 100 energy, aka double Rock Tomb. One Rock Tomb knocks out Zygarde, Rock Tomb knocks out Lapras, and we're able to take that game. But quite a lot of mistakes on both parts. Heading into the next battle, what the heck is this on my screen? And why are they on Spark? Trainer, Volt Switch got buffed. After shielding 2 Bulldozers, we look to rediscover our balls, able to call the Mirror Shot bait. And I am full send, and the question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Of course they do. Magnezone users love to shield everything, but the opponent, unable to outpace to the next Superpower. Dragonite gets the one-hit KO and obtains a shield advantage. Out comes Moltres, we pivot into the Steel Penguin, and this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. As you should always do with an ABB team, I pivot into my first B-type, looking to bait out any counter for said B-type, in the form of a ground type, clearing the path for Fortress to sweep the endgame. Of course, the opponent doesn't know it yet, but that Moltres is now going to be stuck against the Volt Switch Fortress. Potentially, if the opponent would have committed to full Mud Shot farm down here, they would have had a slim chance of winning. However, we've still got enough HP on Dragonite So Dragon Breath farm down that Swampert. The opponent tries to Sucker Punch snipe me. We save Dragonite, make the pivot into Fortress, and that is the final nail in this opponent's coffin. We invest a Protect Shield, block up the fly, reach the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb will be knocking shiny Moltres from the sky. Back out comes Swampert. The opponent recognises they cannot get through both Fortress and Dragonite. Stop attacking. We resisted, Volt Switch farm down Swampert, and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Ampharos in the lead position. Nice to catch here, as this is a very problematic Pokemon for my backline. We're going to play it out the same as we did last time. Respect the brutal swing. Oh my days. A double resisted Trailblaze bait. Honestly, trainers are out here taking my soul today with some of these baits. We look to throw the Superpower on the charge attack priority. The opponent not falling for any of my shenanigans. We throw the next Superpower, force them all shields down, and we save switch into Fortress rather than concede a farm down. The reason you don't want to save switch Fortress is because Fire's real. However, as the opponent 2-shield with Ampharos, in a weird turn of events, Fortress is a Typhlosion counter confirmed. You heard it here first. Back out comes Ampharos. Trainer, bait me once, shame on you. Bait me twice, shame on me. The opponent goes for yet another Trailblaze. Again, double resisted. We shrug off the damage, fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb removes Ampharos from the field of play. We pivot into the Steel Penguin, and out comes Greninja. And this game is once again wrapped up. Of course, it's paramount that I don't shield the first Night Slash. On the off chance to get the boost, I can just shield the second one up. You can see even non-boosted, the second Night Slash will come quite close to knocking me out. I was already in the yellow health range, one Metal Sound and the Drill Peck. This opponent clearly a fan of baiting, so we're going to give him that bad manners, throw the resisted Hydro Cannon and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Togekiss in the lead position. By no means as bad as you might think, as Thunder Punch of course would be super effective. A save switch into the Steel Penguin, baiting out Gastrodon. People wonder why I call this thing a bloody RPS slug. All people want to do with these stupid mud slappers is tap tap tap, shield shield shield. Why would you 2-shield? Hydro Cannon would do like 50%. This actually is super annoying for me because I don't really have any good way of getting rid of this Gastrodon. After rework to Dragon Breath, I'm going to have to get off quite a lot of Dragon Breath damage before they even approach Superpower range. The opponent saved Gastrodon, which is actually a really smart play, and send back out Togekiss. Now Gastrodon still being alive is going to be a huge headache for me. As much as I hate the strategy of tap tap tap, 2-shielding your Mud Slapper in the mid-game matchup, apparently it's quite effective. I overfarm as much as I physically can, throw the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, of course, will be moving Togekiss from the field of play. I am going to be able to outpace this Gastrodon to the Earthquake, but Earthquake non-stab and simply isn't going to cut it. My switch timer will be up. I'm going to attempt to snipe with some Dragon Breath, but unfortunately unable to get it. At this point, we're going to need something hella weak to Dragonite. Something we can one-shot to have any chance in this battle. Out comes Regidrago. We throw the Superpower at the last second, getting off as much Dragon Breath damage as we physically can. Superpower does nowhere near enough damage, and this one is going to end in heartbreaking defeat. Despite me not being a fan of that team strategy, that opponent was very much able to come out on top. Heading into the next battle. We see a Alolan Muk in the lead position. I'm going to throw the Superpower just before the opponent receives the energy for the Acid Spray. Hope the opponent spams the Acid Spray and look to catch it onto the Steel Penguin where it will be double resisted. This opponent, much like a lot of trainers in the Go Battle League, ever so horny for that debuff, did spam the Acid Spray before sending out the ever annoying bulky Vulture Mandibars. What is going on today? Why would you Aerial Ace a Steel type? Yes, we're debuffed, but Aerial Ace simply not going to cut it. We're going to throw as many Hydro Cannons as we physically can. You can see the next Hydro Cannon gets the opponent low. And I'm actually thinking, do you know what? I like the idea of this Penguin with residual energy in the end game. We correctly shield the Dark Pulse, bank the Hydro Cannon, send out Dragonite. Dragonite able to Dragon Breath snipe him down. Back out comes Muk. Once again, we're going to full send the Superpower and see what the opponent wants to do. Potentially Superpower won't even knock out. The first Superpower forces the opponent's final protection. I'm almost certain that a -1 Superpower won't cut it. Superpower doesn't get the job done, but we're able to Dragon Breath farm down afterwards, leave a minimal farm for Alligator. Alligator greeted with Fortress, down a Protect Shield. The opponent doesn't want the smoke and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Gyarados, aka the Fake Dragon, in the lead position. Not actually a particularly bad matchup for Dragonite. Whilst the Dragon Breaths are super effective, we're able to outpace to a Thunder Punch that we double super effective before they reach a crunch. However, as I'm on an ABB team, we pivot into the Steel Penguin, seeing what the opponent's best Steel type counter is, baiting out Swampert. I thought the opponent made a huge mistake here playing to CMP, but somehow they was able to win CMP. They must be like a hundo, as this CMP type isn't even close. We've both got optimal IVs. Empoleon's around 161 and Swampert's around 157, potentially like a Hundo or something. If truth be told, as surprising as it was at losing that charge attack priority, it actually worked out better for me as we're able to reverse farm down Swampert's remaining HP, leaving with the double Thunder Punch, which are double super effective into Gyarados' flying water typing. The first one forced her first Protect Shield, the second one forced them all shields down, and here comes Fortress. As I've got 2 shields, I am going to shield up this Aqua Tail, as it's literally going to be the only move they're going to reach before getting Volt Switch farm down. The opponent pivots out into Extra Drill. Someone call 911. You're about to witness a cold-blooded murder. Earthquake vanquishes Extra Drill back to the Shadow Realm. If you knew that Extra Drill, don't worry. Invitations for its funeral will be in the post. They'll be with you soon. Heading into the next battle, I get my first sighting of Armored Mewtwo. It's kind of unfortunate this Pokemon has been buffed, as it is definitely one of the least accessible Pokemon of all time. It's been released like once, so newer players have no chance of obtaining it unless you trade for it, of course. We respect the Dynamic Punch. The opponent then pivots into Moltres. I land the first Hydro Cannon, try to throw the next one on the CMP tie. The opponent takes the extra, and they're going to need to Full Send a Brave Bird if they want to knock the Steel Penguin out. The opponent set off with a Fly. Fly simply does not cut it. Empoleon either going to take back switch or force the opponent all shields down. The opponent actually tanked the damage. I don't dislike that play, as we're so low the opponent's going to get a massive resisted confusion farm down. My opponent actually makes a very nice play, sniping down my remaining HP and giving their Charizard a 1 Dragon Breath running start. It's going to be 13 to the Blast Burn, of course. I doubt they're going to throw an alignment. However, through the 4th Volt Switch, I get caught in the animation. So I get off as much Volt Switch damage as I physically can, try to catch up with that energy lead Mewtwo's got and sacrifice Dragonite. Here, watch this. The opponent gets not 1, but 2 boosts. You've got to be kidding me. They don't reach a Blast Burn. This is only an Air Cutter, but I think I should definitely shield this move, as look how much it does. Air Cutter does like 60% of my fully excelled Fortress. If I would have shielded that move, potentially got a chance, because of course, we're going to be able to double debuff this Mewtwo before they get off any damage whatsoever. It feels bad to shield up an Air Cutter, but you've got to account for Charizard, very attack weighted. Unlike Mewtwo, they get the same type attack bonus. Whilst it is a terrible move, the Shadow bonus plus 2-stage attack boost mean it would definitely do more than a debuff Dynamic Punch. You live and you learn. Heading into the next battle. Dragonite into Swampert, the opponent safe switch into Armored Mewtwo, and this gives me a perfect opportunity to show you just how much a debuff Dynamic Punch is going to do. So I'm going to shield this first move, throw said Rock Tomb, so when they actually finally do land the Dynamic Punch, it is going to be at -1, which would have been the same scenario as the last battle. And much to my disappointment, it really does not do much of anything. So I definitely think the last battle would have been winnable, as we would have easily survived that. It probably did like half the damage that double boosted Air Cutter did. Here we pause, ensuring the opponent doesn't try to catch back onto Swampert. No catch attempt is made. Back out comes Swampert. Fortress, still not done. Going to reach the Earthquake. Earthquake won't be lethal, but the opponent isn't ever going to be able to Mudshot farm us down before we reach yet another charge move. The opponent recognises it and look to dump energy. We have got the correct alignment, but when using Glassy Shadows, sometimes a shield disadvantage could cost you, and this could be a scenario where it could come back to bite me. Togekiss, of course, has access to Aura Spear, which is super effective, but one is survivable. I'm always no shielding this move. As worst case scenario, we can try and Thunder Punch this in the end game. The opponent actually overfarmed by 1, playing to the CMP tie. They do not win, and that is going to be game losing for them. I've got a very clear path forward here. I just need to ensure the Thunder Punch lands on its intended target. The opponent isn't able to catch back onto Swampert. No catch attempt is made. Thunder Punch will be removing Togekiss from the field of play. Swampert's going to need like back-to-back sludges, or actually 3, because we can tank 1, shield 1. It isn't going to happen, and the opponent concedes the match. In the next battle, this time we see Togekiss in the lead position. We safe switch into Empoleon. The opponent's going to look to try and force a shield advantage or do big damage. I'm more than happy to invest a Protect Shield, recognising energy usually goes places, especially if the opponent's best Empoleon counter is apparently Drapion, and the Poison Stings don't do much of anything at the best of times, and they are double resisted. We can definitely tank 1 crunch. I'm then going to farm up, once again trapping the opponent into the CMP type, always looking to maximise my energy. I was looking at the health on this Drapion thinking I'd love switch advantage, and do you know what? 5 Metal Sounds might actually get the job done. What I'm going to do is throw 5 Metal Sounds. If 5 Metal Sounds aren't lethal, we're going to catch back out and sacrifice Dragonite. 1 crunch will be survivable, and we'll look to bait that Togekiss back into the arena. Dragonite able to Dragon Breath farm down. Togekiss does re-enter the arena. We overfarm, trying to play 2 CMP, and the opponent actually does fall for that trick, and that is just huge for me. I guess the temptation from the opponent there was to try and get rid of Dragonite before they had to tank a Thunder Punch, but they ended up playing to CMP. We send out Fortress, the opponent not wishing to concede a farm down, send out Cradilly. Switch time is our misaligned. I'm going to tank this Rock Tomb, and it is going to be the Shadow Penguin show. Empoleon re-enters the arena. Whilst we might be deep in the red health range, we've got so much energy. The first Hydro Cannon rocks them. Below the half health range, we maximise our farm, trapping the opponent into the CMP tile. They do not win. Hydro Cannon going to knock out Cradilly. Togekiss is still alive and well, but not for long. Empoleon reaches one further Hydro Cannon, which they're able to survive. We Metal Sound farm down and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Scizor in the lead position. We've definitely got two better responses in the back. Both our steel types do resist steel. And in the Penguin's case, these bullet punches are double resisted as water also resists steel. Hello? Nidoking, are you lost, bro? What the heck is this doing on my screen? I know Nidoking's got massive attack. I was thinking, do I survive a Sand Tomb? I was thinking, do you know what? I probably don't. So I'm having to invest the protection and look to flip alignment or force the opponent all shields down. Even debuff, the opponent's still unable to double resist it. Bullet punch farm me down, so Scizor's going to be forced to dump its energy. Night Slash knocks me out, and this time they don't get the boost. They actually did boost the first time before pivoting out. Out comes Typhlosion, and this game is going to get very, very dicey. We've already established that a single Incinerate does like 30% of my HP. Dragonite, I really need you, buddy, to do one small favour for me and tank a Thunder Punch. Moment of truth. Is this Thunder Punch range? Dragonite, do not let me down. Thunder Punch doesn't get the job done. We're just about able to survive on fractional HP. IVs matter, guys. Thunder Punch knocks out Typhlosion. We pivot back out into Fortress. Even a boost at this point will not save my opponent. They throw the Night Slash. Night Slash doesn't get the boost. Regardless, we're able to outpace to the Earthquake. And that is going to be all she wrote. Shout out this opponent. What a spicy team. Heading into the next battle, we see Regidrago in the lead position. Even if they're on the spicy Home Slice Henry moveset with Hyper Beam, both my steel types are going to fully wall them. The opponent fire off the Dragon Energy. They have, truth be told, it didn't look all that resisted, doing half my HP. The opponent then sends out Lapras. We fire off the Drill Peck. We attempt to throw the next Drill Peck on the CMP type, anticipate the opponent going straight for a Sparkling Aria. We are able to throw on CMP, and I really hope this move knocks me out. It actually doesn't knock me out, which is probably worth enabling a Sideway farm down afterwards. If this was the old version of Dragon Breath, we Dragon Breath farm down before they reach the Ice Beam. Unfortunately, nowadays, that isn't the case. I attempt to catch the Ice Beam onto Fortress, catch attempt unsuccessful, and I think there the opponent bad manners me. Like, you're never going to catch the Ice Beam because I haven't got it. I still think you should throw a Sparkling Aria. I'm pretty certain a Sparkling Aria will do more as it hits for neutral rather than a resisted bash. I'll be the first to admit my fast move time in using a one-turn move is horrendous. I think it's easier against the longer turn durations, so in this battle the opponent had no excuse not to throw at least a couple of sand attacks. Where I really struggle is one turn versus two turn. I always see to spam the move on alignment and it is super frustrating. While I was going off on that mad run, I believe they're -1 at this point. They got one boost and we debuffed them twice. I've still got 2 shields. I need to start considering shielding, as I might put myself in danger of getting Dragon Breath farm down. Back out comes Regidrago. We need to manage our energy well here and we should be fine. I think throwing a Thunder Punch here could be detrimental. If the opponent calls it, I could be in trouble. So we force in the Superpower, go for a slight undercharge. Superpower still knocks out. Dragonite so far ahead, going to be able to outpace 2 back-to-back Thunder Punches. You know the drill. The first one, force the Protect Shield, and the second is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. Despite my inability to use a one-turn move effectively, I honestly think Dragonite is so greatly improved, massively benefiting that new faster pacing. Heading into the next battle, we see Golurk in the lead position, the opponent save switch into Belly Bolt. This thing's always a headache to deal with. We're going to throw the Superpower of course, go shielded, and then we send out Fortress. I'm not a fan of baiting. I'm thinking, surely trainer, you're not going to leave Golurk without shields. With that in mind, I'm going to look to full send the Earthquake. The more you think logically about this situation, the more full sending is the only path forward. Because you either want to guarantee almost a knockout on this Belly Bolt, or you want to force the opponent all shields down. Why Empoleon doesn't have a great matchup in the Golurk. Now they're shieldless, a Hydro Cannon, Shadow and Shadow Crime will essentially be a one-hit KO. Well, actually is a one-hit KO from full health. We send back out Dragonite, maximise energy, throw the Superpower on the CMP type. As they're 3-stage boosted, Superpower won't be lethal. But we're going to hope that Empoleon can sweep the team. In Empoleon, I believe the Steel Penguin enters the arena. The opponent looked like they're going to reach a parabolic charge. The opponent actually banked the parabolic charge. Why? I'm not entirely sure, because they're always going to lose CMP to my Steel Penguin. Out comes Clefable. Once again, going to overfarm, trap the opponent into the CMP tie, always keeping that shield intact. Hydro Cannon knocks out Clefable. Golurk re-enters the arena, but Golurk going to be straight in and straight out. Hydro Cannon says, get that Golurk off my screen. We're going to Metal Sound farm down Belly Bolt, and Empoleon does not let me down, sweeping the entire team. GG's, and thanks for playing. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's showcase. A longer video, but I think a nice example of what this team can do. I think the Steel plus Dragon Core is phenomenal, and nowadays the top tier Pokemon, especially in their shadow form, are Empoleon plus Dragonite, that are both hugely improved thanks to their new quicker pacing. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. The link to our battle submission form is down below, and as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.